Hello, friends, and welcome to the most glorious of events, the Movie Mavericks podcast. This outstanding program is hosted by two fine gentlemen, Jason and Trevor. Now make it so.
MovieMavericks.com.
Hey, now everybody, welcome to episode 377 of the Movie Mavericks podcast. I'm Trevor Anderson, sending you over to Jason Rugard. He's got a rundown for us.
On tonight's episode, we will be discussing 7 new films that we have seen. May not be new to you, but they are new to us, as well as trailers, teasers for Avatar, She-Hulk, the latest from Adam Sandler, and what else do we see in there? I don't know. There's one I feel like I'm missing in there. I don't
know. I didn't watch the Adam Sandler one, so you'll have to tell me about it.
Oh, my goodness. This man did not do his homework, but at least he made it up front. Yeah, will do. First, let's get to a little movie news. I want to talk to you about the happenings on the Fast and Furious 10 set. Are you following what's going on?
As long as we're not talking about the happening, yeah, let's do it. I don't know. Who is it? Charlize Theron's coming back? Isn't that the news?
Well, no. I mean, Jason Momoa is there. Brie Larson. They got a whole slew of new cast members.
Back.
I think she is coming back. Helen Mirren. I think everybody is slated to come back.
Everybody's coming back. You know, there's not enough movie for everyone to come back.
That's why these movies have to be 145 minutes long at the very least, to give everybody at least a couple minutes of screen time. It's almost like this is Ocean's 11 pulled out to the max degree. Wouldn't you agree at this point? I mean, this was kind of like the stunt casting and getting all those.
I don't know what the point of this is anymore. I'm totally lost on the storyline. I no longer care about any of these people. And I don't know what's going on anymore. I feel like these are movies now. I could skip several in the franchise and wind up still. It's like a soap opera. Just nothing happens.
It's almost like a horror franchise in the 80s. You know, like a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, like you know what's going to
Nightmare on
happen.
Elm
You know
Street.
what's going on. I know the characters enough at this point. They're not going to progress enough in these movies to make a difference for the next couple movies, right? Or it's certainly nothing that I can't figure out if I skipped a movie.
Right, yeah, there's nothing that's integral per episode. It's just the overall arc. And the harbinger of the series, the guy who is really leading the charge, Justin Lin, has left directing it after a week of principal photography. You didn't read about this?
I did not hear about that.
Yeah, he apparently, this is what the rumored source was, is that Vin Diesel is showing up unprepared, out of shape, doesn't know his lines, late, and Lynn said it's not worth my mental health. There are some rumors that he also left because John Watts just left the Marvel gig directing the Fantastic Four reboot. Lynn apparently was high on that and wanted to get that job. So that's the rumor or speculation. And I mean, to leave a production a week into shooting, apparently Universal has Louis Leterrier earmarked for the job. So I'm sure he'll do a craftsman, journeyman job.
Yeah. He's a gun for hire. I can't believe Fantastic Four. You just said that name again. Like, these movies are, I don't want to shoot a Fast and Furious movie. I want to make a Fantastic Four movie. Okay. I can't. Really? What movies have lined? Doesn't nobody want to actually make any kind of new movie? Does no one have any ideas anymore?
The Fantastic Four reboot, they've never successfully done anything with the Fantastic Four, in my opinion.
How dare you, sir? Those first two are fantastic, and the Roger Corman one's quite good, too.
The first one is acceptable. The 2005 one.
It's acceptable.
It's acceptable because I saw it on a mass dose of edibles back in the day, and so it was vaguely entertaining for the 90 minutes that it lasted.
I like both the original ones and the Roger Corman one.
The Roger Corman one's a rough run as well.
Oh, it's good.
It is. It's enjoyable in spots. But that's the happenings on the Fast and Furious front. Apparently, they can't get their shit together on that set. And it sounds like a lot of the issues that Dwayne Johnson brought up a couple years back are now resurfacing. And I think a lot of this is the hubris of Vin Diesel and his personality. This is your only franchise. I mean, he's been in nothing else that's been successful.
Well, he's got Riddick coming up again. But is this you say he's been in nothing else successful or anything, but Fast and Furious is almost something you can't kill. It's like Wesley Snipes killed Blade, right? I mean, so to speak. He had help, plenty of help, but this is kind of a play out of like Blade Trinity almost in some ways, sounds like, right? Director has problems with actor has problems with director. And so but it's too big to fail.
I hear what you're saying, but eventually they're going to hit a wrong note, and these things are going to start going the other way. It just hasn't happened yet. You're starting to see Marvel falter a little bit here with their stuff. The critical reaction.
I think they've been faltering, but yeah, you're right. The critical reaction, sure. So the fan reaction has not been great for Marvel,
and the
I think it's going to only
Eternals,
continue to get worse. Yeah, that's not just Eternals; it's all the Disney Plus stuff. But the fans have been ahead of this, right? For a little bit, and so as long as they put out technically acceptable material, they seem to be okay. Marvel seems to be fine on steady ground, and Fast and Furious is kind of the same thing as far as Marvel stuff goes. Like if they put out a fucking Transformers movies today, people will go see it.
And they do have one in the works with Stephen Cable, the guy who directed
and it'll be
Creed
fucking
2.
terrible. And people will go see. I'll probably watch it. So what can you say? Vote with your wallet, but we all just watch the shit anyways.
Well, it's presented in front of us. You can't escape most of this shit. You're going to eventually
some of it you
come
can.
across it.
I have stopped watching a lot of things, especially the Disney Plus stuff and a couple other things. I've only made it a couple episodes in, and I've had to stop. Not good.
Just not enough time in the world.
Well, and that's the other thing. Yeah, exactly.
Another movie that they are talking about rebooting, giving another shot to, because apparently once just wasn't good enough, is The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Ooh, I liked the first one.
I know you're the fans. You're one of the guys that does like it. I think it's an extremely flawed movie for so many reasons,
100%.
but there are sequences and parts that do work. I put The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen on the same league as Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. In that,
I would disagree with that. I think Sky Captain's far more boring, and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is more of a real movie, I think. Well, not just in the sense that it's less CGI, but it has a lot of CGI in it. But Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow is experimental, I would say. Even story-wise, it's a weird fucking movie, man.
It is super trippy.
And while they both have similar faults, I guess, to some degree, they both try to be grandiose, and they just don't meet that. At least, Norrington tells kind of a normal movie, just a normal blockbuster movie with pitfalls here and there.
I just always put them together because they were really these big, lavish marketing spends on them, and they were, kind of futuristic nostalgia in the same way.
They were supposed to be big blockbuster movies, yeah.
Both tanked, and it really was the movie that sent Sean Connery into retirement after punching out the director.
And I love Steve Norrington, but yeah, he appears to be an asshole.
The two directors, the guy who made Sky Captain and the guy, Steve Norton, who made League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he's far more talented. I mean, Death Machine and Blade
I love
speak
Death
to that.
Machine. For anyone who hasn't seen Death Machine's early Stephen Norrington movie, I think probably his best movie, really, to be honest with you. But yeah, and then Blade, a great Marvel movie. There you go.
I mean, if you're looking for an awesome kind of throwback double feature, check out Death Machine and put it on the same level as Fortress or something like that. Those early 90s Fortress. Kind of B movies.
You can watch Fortress and Fortress 2 are both on Tubi right now.
So Fortress 1 is on Tubi?
Fortress and Fortress 2. You can do, I'm fairly certain, I can look it up right now. Just
Please do, because that feels like that's erroneous.
I'm 100% sure. No, it's not. Because I'm pretty sure I looked at this, because the DVDs are full screen and these fuckers are widescreen.
If Fortress is on Tubi right now, we're cutting this podcast short, and I'm getting on there and watching it.
Fucking Tubi, bro. Fortress and Fortress 2 on Tubi.
Oh, kick ass.
As far as just watch Fortress, saying, I know, because I was lining them up
and watch it.
Because I was interested. I was like, man, I'm gonna get these on fucking DVD, and both the DVDs of those are full screen. I was like, oh man, I just watch them on Tubi.
Wow. I mean, that's unbelievable now. The availability of things on streaming is unbelievable, because those are very rare. You can barely find Fortress anywhere. I don't even know if it's available to purchase through iTunes or anything like that. If it is,
I don't know
never
about digital.
inexpensive.
I mean, I see the DVDs for both of them here and there.
Yeah, because you're out in the wild searching.
Yeah, they are widescreen dog shit DVDs, to be honest with you.
One of those early transfers.
Not widescreen, but full screen. Yes. They're not great. They're cheap. So I would rather watch that. Watch it on Tubi, man. Tubi has some great old movies, as well as whenever. Here's a little tidbit for people. Whenever Scream Factory or Arrow Video or any of these boutique guys get a lot of these new movies and they get these new transfers and stuff, that shit will fucking be on Tubi, and the new transfer will be on that. We just Sword and Sorcerer, right? We just watched that. That 4K transfer is on fucking Tubi.
Yeah, they've grown in leaps and bounds the last, particularly 2 to 3 years. Now that 20th Century Fox owns them, they have. I mean, I go to buy things on iTunes or Vudu or whatever.
Boutique things.
I go on there. It's typically on there already. And, I mean,
if it's old and it's weird, it's not something that you'd find anyplace else. It might be on Tubi. I'm telling you. And they do these transfers, and these boutique guys who are putting out these discs, and those sets are great. Like, if you really like the movie, buy the fucking set. Believe me, it's better than watching it on Tubi for sure with all the commercials and everything. But if you just want to see the movie in a good transfer of it. It'll be that new transfer. That'll be what's on there because they just made that transfer. Those guys are just buying it, the transfer, to put it on there. They're not making the transfer. The studio makes transfers. Mm-hmm. So you get the best of both worlds. You can get free or you can go pay for it. But yeah, Tubi is a great place to watch this.
I agree. I think it's quickly becoming my go-to streaming service outside of the pay channels. Out of the free ones, I think it's head and shoulders above the others.
Yeah.
Everyone's just secondary. Let's get into some reviews of things that we've seen, because we have seen a lot of movies since we've talked to you last. Some big ones, some small ones, some old ones, some new ones, everything in between, some good ones and bad ones even. But let's start off with the biggest blockbuster on the list here, and that is Spider-Man No Way Home. I want to know what you thought about this, the third highest grossing film of all time now. I didn't get a chance to see this. It is now the third highest grossing film of all time. Can you believe that?
No, I actually can't.
You know why I didn't rush out to see this one, besides having not seen the last one, is I just didn't want to see a Spider-Man who was crying. And I kept seeing clips where this fucker was crying, and I just wasn't into it, man.
I don't know so much about that. There wasn't that much crying in it. Like the last Spider-Man movie was good. Honestly, it was good. This movie, it is too long. It's way too fucking long. This thing's 2.5 hours long. There's not enough in it. It's not that interesting of a fucking movie. Like, you talk about him crying. Yeah, that's like the first act, basically. He's kind of a little bitch, the first act. And then he goes to Doctor Strange, and they just fuck around. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Doctor Strange appears to not have a fucking clue what he's doing. And just decides, I'll do a spell and we'll fuck around. We don't know what the fuck's going on. And then, multiverse. And I don't know. I mean, do you know the twist already in this? I think everyone already knows. I knew before I watched it.
With the different Spider-Man coming back? Yeah,
the Spider-Man come back. I would say if I didn't know that and I was in a theater watching this opening weekend, okay, maybe I might have a slightly better, feeling about this. But it goes on for so long. I just can't explain to you how fucking boring this movie is.
Their involvement?
All of it. Their involvement, it's just the whole movie's slow as shit. It's a dog slow movie. And so, yeah, I couldn't get into this. Cut 45 minutes out of this movie. I have a different opinion of it, but it's too slow. It's not very exciting. You know what's going to happen. And it's not that interesting. That Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, they don't really add anything to it. And now they do bringing back the old villains also is like, it's kind of like, it feels like fan
service, fan fiction.
Yes. Both. Yes. That's what it feels like. When Doc Ock shows up, at first you're kind of like, oh, this is going to be good. And then he shows up and you're like, all right, but I guess.
Well, is this going to be the last for Holland, or does it look like they're going to continue on with this version, this verse, whatever?
I imagine they're going to continue on because, how much money did this just make?
Yeah, but is it set up for it story-wise?
No, but it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so yes. No, but yes.
Well, I felt like Spider-Man 3
there is no end.
An end. You didn't feel like that? Like when they were done with that last one, it felt like that could have been a natural conclusion, a step-out point with the Franco, Tobey Maguire one. Yeah, the 2007 version.
Sure, but that's not this. I mean, that could be this, but it doesn't have to be, right? Tomorrow they can make another Iron Man movie, right? I mean, there's no door is actually closed ever in any of these Marvel movies. I don't buy it. They don't really do it. They don't. And which movie have they done it to? And this doesn't really do it. It ends, and it ends in such a way. Well, it has 8 endings. By the way, why do movies have 8 endings? I do not need a closing for every fucking character.
That started
Holy
with
fucking
Return
shit.
of the King.
I
That
know,
started with
and
Lord of the
it's
Rings
bad in
20
this
years
one,
ago.
too. It's really bad in this one. I don't know why people. I would need someone to explain to me why they think this movie is good. For me to understand it, because I really don't think it's okay. It's not like it's a bad movie. It's fine. It's way too long, and it has 800 endings. Every character gets an ending. Everything gets wrapped up, but not really, because it's fucking like it will go on in the next movie, obviously. So no. So yeah, it's open-ended.
You're giving it a modest negative review,
I give
or
it
are you giving
a pass. It's fine. I mean, watch it. I'm sure. Everyone's already seen it. They loved it. I'm the odd man out here. I don't think it's that good of a movie. But it's fine.
I heard nothing but positive.
I thought the last movie was better than this movie. I'll put it that way.
Because of length?
Entertainment, like engagement. Like this movie didn't engage me at all. I got super fucking bored several times in every single act of this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, length is a real problem here. This movie was just drawn out. Like I say, there are a million endings. Every character gets a fucking ending in this movie, man. It's unreal. Like these characters are not that important. Like it's called Spider-Man. Spider-Man. I don't need a closing on the fucking other characters. They do their fucking thing, fine, but oh my God.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about a film that I saw last summer. It looks like you just caught up to it here. That's M. Night Shyamalan's Old.
Yeah, Shyamalan.
This was his modest box office hit from last year. I saw this in a theater. You just caught it on streaming. I was. Let me tell you this. I was going with this. This is going to be a spoiler heavy, so you might want to jump forward 5 minutes if you haven't seen this yet. But if you haven't, it's been out for a year, so
deal with it.
Is what it is. Now, I was somewhat with this movie until I felt like it was fucking with me to just fuck with me, and then when they finally explained whatever was going on with the reef in the company, it was such a pathetic. The ending was such a pathetic excuse for my time being invested that I left once again going, why do I watch this guy's movies? And I'm telling you, I was so irritated at this. More irritated than I was when I saw The Village.
Are good, to be fair, but the majority of his movies are good, or at least watchable. But he does have some extreme duds. Like when they're bad, they're really bad.
This one I felt like was laughably bad.
I'd agree because it doesn't. This movie this movie does not follow its own rules, right? It's not logical. And so when you tell me one thing and then you show me something else, I'm already out, And this movie was ruined for me before I say ruined, spoiled, I guess, whatever the hell you'd say. I knew what was going to happen in this movie as I watched it. And it's worse watching it than it was hearing it.
Yeah, as it plays out.
Like when the choral scene plays out, unfucking real how bad that is. I mean, just god awful. And then when they do the final reveal after that, it's like, holy shit.
This is so oddly distasteful. Bro, from the daughter getting pregnant and married.
I'm fine with all that kind of shit. The baby dies from not eating. Oh, I didn't eat. It wasted away. None of you have eaten. If we're gonna pretend that like years go by in like hours or whatever, you're not eating. You're all dead. What the fuck am I missing here? Why is the baby dead?
Yeah, see, I overlooked that.
Why is the baby dead and you're not dead? Like there's these logical gaps in this movie. It runs through the whole entire movie, all of it, right? Like they cut people. She cuts the guy with the rusty knife and it kills him. Like what? People get
There
cut
are
by rusty
effective
shit all the time.
sequences,
And
though.
they don't get killed. There is, and like you say, I was going with it up to a point. You're right. I go with this movie up to the first act, well into the second act. I'd say I'm with this movie. By the time they start really getting into it and kind of like showing you like what's what, I'm gone. It's immediate. It's like an immediate like, oh, this makes no fucking sense. You're not even trying.
So it's a long time from that point. The sequence where they do the climbing, I thought was pretty effective. The hot lady kind of disfiguring was very odd, which was cool and effective.
Yeah, I didn't understand that really though. Why is she breaking? Was she all breaking up?
I'm not sure either, but
Like,
I thought it was a cool scene
breaking?
visually.
It's creepy, but
at the same time, from the point where you say, fuck it, I'm not with this anymore, to the time when they reveal what's going on is a long sludge. It's a long, slow sludge. And you were talking about a movie that felt drawn
it was the whole
out.
first act where they're at the hotel and everything before they even get to the beach. And I have to admit that the entire, like all the stuff that he does with the family and like dealing with, like I liked setting the scenes of like everyone's sick and showing people's illnesses and doing that kind of stuff before you get to the beach. Cause you're like, okay, like I'm kind of clued into a lot of this just naturally by what he's doing, but there's too much of like the fucking family fighting, like the parents fighting and the kids carrying all this stuff. And like, this is like extra shit that I just don't give a shit about.
Especially in a movie like that. I felt like he was going for a Jordan Peele.
Get to the fucking point. You know, like in Lost, the plane crashes and they fucking wake up on the beach, so to speak, right? And yeah, they do a lot of character development in that show, Lost and stuff like that. But for the most part, they don't. Right? Like, you're on the fucking island. Like, get me to the fucking beach, you know?
Yeah, it took a while to get going, but like I said, I felt like it was working for me to a point, and then the second act trouble, and by the time the reveal is, and the reveal, how it's handled, how it's shot, the sets even, I just thought the whole thing.
How do you keep that secret with all those people working there?
Oh, now you're going to apply logic to that? I mean, you've already figured out
that's exactly what the whole thing is. It's just like, I mean, in the end, he's like, this beach was created by nature, and this is what we're using it for. The dude gives a whole fucking speech about it, right? I got to sit through that fucking philosophical nonsense bullshit thing, and it's like, dude, what are you talking about?
That was one of the worst ending speeches.
If people found out this beach was real, like there was like a time fucking warp area thing that was fucked up like this, it wouldn't be a fucking secret that the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry would exploit. It's fucking what? I mean, that's the most insane damn thing I've ever heard.
It's like when Steven Seagal was pontificating at the end of On Deadly Ground about Mother Nature. It was a fucking ludicrous ending.
And he also directed that. So kind of makes sense, right?
There you go. But I thought that, for half of this movie's running time, it was working, but I got violently mad as it ended, and it wasted my time. And I've been through a couple of these experiences with this director. I should have known, but this one irritated me more than most.
I mean, the
Village,
obviously. So you didn't like The Village that much?
The Happening, The Village. I think
The Village is okay.
I think that the moments that work in The Village are some of his most effective moments in all of his fucking filmography. When they're
that's what I'm
worried
saying.
about the
that movie's
chanting
not
and
really
stuff.
that bad of a movie. Like it's just
the ending.
Yeah.
The ending of that one. The Happening is by far his worst. Actually, The Last Airbender.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying, like most of the majority of M. Night Shyamalan's movies are watchable, like all the way through. Really, even The Village, I would say, was a watchable film. Like I could rewatch that. I could never in my life rewatch Old. I could never rewatch Last Airbender. I could never rewatch The Happening. Like there are certain movies of his, like when they're bad, they're fucking bad.
My girl wants to watch The Happening because she likes Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel.
Wahlberg's so bad. Do not watch that movie.
I showed her the trailer.
He's so bad in it.
I've seen it in the theater. It was awful. I showed her the trailer and to ward her off of it, and she goes, "Oh, it looks good." And I went, "What?"
No.
But then I thought I saw that trailer too and paid for a fucking ticket and saw it in the theater.
Right.
So, yeah.
What do you know?
Me. But you're not gonna get me twice, fucker. All right, let's move on and let's talk about another horror film from a respected auteur. I guess that would be Candyman, even though this isn't from Jordan Peele specifically, he executive produced it. His fingerprints are on this remake of the Bernard Rose film from 1992, which had somewhat of a cult film status heaved upon it. It's really an artsy kind of horror film if you haven't seen it, based on a Clive Barker short story novella, and it was it's followed by 2 subsequent sequels. This is the remake, reboot, 2022 version. And I actually found it to be fairly effective. I liked this version. I didn't have... I thought that it moved well. I thought that it was interesting enough. It held my attention. It had some slickness to it. I thought that it didn't bother me that they were putting some, social justice type stuff. I don't want to say social justice, but...
the first one, really, to be fair.
Yeah, that is too, because he's a slave that was killed.
Is kind of the
racially
same,
motivated.
And it is. And so is the first one. So yeah, I didn't mind that either. I had hoped that with a bigger budget, slicker stuff, that it would have been more horror oriented, and it wasn't. So
it's not gruesome at all.
To me, this movie's a letdown. I really love the scene, the horror scene where he attacks him in the art view, whatever the hell that is. I don't know what you call that.
Your gallery there.
The gallery, thank you. The art gallery. That's really cool. I thought, oh, this is cool, but it doesn't really ever go above that. It doesn't really get any more than that. And so I don't know if I'm going to compare this to something that I think would be similar, but I think is much better. I would say Midnight Meat Train did a way better job of this type of an idea than this. And I just kind of had hoped that there would be a little bit more horror in this, and there wasn't.
It's a little bit more intellectual. It's odd to say that about a horror
it's just
film,
less
but it's
horror. But you're right. Yeah, it's more of like this guy discovering kind of himself and while trying to discover Candyman.
And I like there is a mood that's created here, which is laughable in Candyman 2 and 3, the follow-ups to the original.
I like those, but they're so bad. Yeah,
they are bad. I rewatched the second one recently, and it's startlingly bad. But they create a mood here. I think that the lead actor, I like this guy. He's much better here than he was in, I can't pronounce his name for shit, but he's much better here than he was in The Matrix Resurrections. And I think he's got a career as a leading man. What I thought that the movie lacked was the real, the on-edge quality that the first one gave me. Yeah. I feel like at times this was going through the motions.
I was never worried so much about... In this movie, I never would worry about saying Candyman to a mirror. As far as this movie goes, like, this felt fake to me. That's what I mean about the horror element. Like, I wanted more horror out of this movie, which I got. And maybe there's an age difference that makes that work between this one and the original Candyman. But yeah, like, the original Candyman was kind of a movie that kind of freaked you out a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, people our age, our generation, people will not say Candyman in a mirror, or at least know about that as kind of a joke. So, and I mean, I was 13 when I saw the original, scared the shit out of me at a sleepover with a bunch of people, and I guarantee you none of them say Candyman in the mirror if they can get away with it. But in terms of the slickness of this production, I did think that this was one of the more successful reboots of a previous franchise that I've seen come along in a while.
I don't know. I don't think you see... I mean, I would argue that the only way to really judge a horror franchise would be sequels. And do you see sequels happening from this? I really don't.
I don't. I mean, it made enough money that it could possibly be spun off on something.
I think
and Jordan
the risk
Peele
would be huge to spin this off.
Yeah. I don't know where it could go in terms of a story. I thought that the follow-ups previously were so weak.
It does set up for a sequel in the end, technically, to be fair.
It did. But didn't the first one, too, with Virginia Madsen's character, they never followed through on that particular storyline?
Yes.
Which is kind of like the idea is like now it's almost a vampire effect right now. You're infected and you're going to pass that along or...
I mean, to be fair, this director has now gone on to Marvel, so... But that's what everyone does? That's not fair. Never mind. That's not even... I shouldn't even say that. Everyone does that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got a Marvel movie under their belt. Let's talk about another fucking horror movie because we're just knocking them down over here. Scream, the reboot of another 90s franchise, albeit a far more successful franchise in the 90s, the Wes Craven, Kevin Williamson quadrilogy. I guess there's 4 of them that came out, but the 3 are the mainstays. And really, to me, the first 2 are the only ones I consider Scream movies.
Well, how dare you? Number 3? Come on, you have to do all 3. All 3 of them that's the trilogy. That counts.
Okay, fair enough, because that did come out in the same era, at least.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like from 4 on, like that's a different thing altogether.
And this is a different thing that pays a lot of homage, and it's
but it's not a different thing, right? Isn't this the new thing though? Is to when you do the remakes now, they're not remakes, they're continuations, but they're the title of the original.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking annoying, to be honest with you here.
Right? But I mean, Halloween, now we have Scream, Friday the 13th.
I didn't find this, though, all that...
It's all the same.
Look, I was pretty down the road on this. I mean, I saw this in the theater back in January.
I thought this was pretty good, to be honest with you. I thought it was fine.
I was just down the road on it. It didn't get my pulse racing. I just kept nodding at it and went, yeah, that's familiar. Yeah. That's familiar. I thought like the inclusion of what they were trying to do with the original characters, what was going on here. I stopped trotting out the legacy characters at this point. And I know that they're talking about the reboots and they're trying to be, quick-witted with it. And this is what we're trying. It's a sequel, but it's not really.
It makes it. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it does make it a little bit difficult to have a commentary on something while you are doing that thing that you are commenting on.
But isn't that what made the first one so good back in '96? I mean,
yes, it is. But the problem with that is that we've now seen that they've leveraged that to commercial success, right? And so now you're no longer saying, "Oh, look at what these guys are doing just to make money and all this stuff." Well, but you're doing that just to make money, right? That's what we're watching right now, right? Now you've become the very thing that you made fun of.
You're lampooning. Yeah. You're spoofing what you are, which is so fucking meta. It's like you're doing an impersonation of yourself. I don't know if it's possible. So it's a weird. It's just a fucking weird rabbit hole to be down.
Good. Like this is definitely a Scream movie. It fits in to the whole thing with the other ones. It's fine. I don't know. I'm not really a huge Scream fan at this point anyway, so.
I really like the first 2. Like I said, I find this to be some of my favorite horror movies of all time. And
I have the Miramax special edition DVDs of those because that's what those look like. That's what those are to me. If I don't have those, then I'm not watching that movie.
So those are awful. I rewatched my DVDs before this new one, and they're awful. I had to frame in my TV to make them fill out the whole fucking TV. I don't even think they're widescreens. They're widescreen, but they're not anamorphic.
No, they have to be. Come on.
I don't know. I think the third one might be, but I don't think the first 2 are.
That's horrendous. But in any case, those cases, that's the fucking Scream movies to me.
Absolutely. And Skeet Ulrich and those guys. I mean, the first one was so popular when I was in high school that, I saw it at least 2 times in the theater, and that was on at everyone's house you'd go over. That movie is symbolic to a certain time period for me. So it's very hard for me to now take this new wave that's coming in with it and how flippant they are towards the whole thing.
Too. The characters are old and flippant. Yeah, they've definitely taken the final girl to a next level. Even the Halloween movies at this point. But yeah, the final girl is now a heroine.
She's no longer a survivor.
Which is kind of weird. You expect it. She's the heroine. Yeah, no longer a survivor. No longer a final girl. Now she's the girl. She's the heroine.
Well, they're just jumping a chapter. Weird. Because usually what would happen is in the next, she'd be the final girl, and then in the next one, she'd be the heroine until she'd get killed off, and then there'd be a new final girl.
I like some of those. Final Destination 2, I thought really did a really good job with the Ali Larter character being being that final girl from the first one, but being the kind of a heroine character in the second one, but someone that they had to go and say hey, how do you do this? And she's have been beating, dueling with death, so to speak, for so long, all that kind of stuff. I really like that idea that in that Final Destination 2 movie, but it doesn't translate so well to a lot of these other movies. I don't know. I'm a little tired of people going up against a villain who's like supernatural and impossible to kill, right? That I've seen in so many other movies. It's the franchises that you can't kill them; they kill you. So how long can we have people go up against them? The same people. The same people.
With Ali Lautner, that's the Sigourney Weaver Ripley effect, right? I mean, she
to some degree, and it works in that movie. I really like that movie. I think it works really well in that movie. But that's kind of it's a. I mean, like you say, the Ripley stuff. Yes, you're right, because she's been through it, and by the time this new group realizes, oh, death's out to get us, we need to go get some help, and this person's been through it and all this stuff, and they go to help, they get it. You get the idea that her character's been built through that, right? She's been through all this stuff up to that point, which is what they do with these characters. But we're now X amount of movies in. You know, like how many times are we going to roll through this at some point? I don't know. It gets a little ridiculous. I like to see something a little new, even though I'm obviously saying this is a Scream movie. It fits in with the Scream stuff. I don't know what you would do to rejuvenate Scream. I think this is the same thing you're complaining about, right? Is that this just feels redundant at this point. So what would you do to rejuvenate this? And I don't know, I don't know how you fix this problem.
No. The only thing that these movies offer anymore to me is to try to figure out who the killer is from the first frame. And I will say that this movie did a good job of keeping that from me. I did not correctly guess who was the final killer.
It's a good watch, but it's not something that I agree. It's not something that you're going to sit around and really talk about. It's nothing really super important, but that's movies in general these days. I find them to be fine to watch, and not something that I really need to collect or want or need to see multiple times,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not down on the movie, but I'll say this. Out of the last three that we talked about, the one that actually stimulated me the most or engaged me the most was Candyman out of the three. Even though I liked what Scream was doing, because I like the overall, I like the context of Scream. I like the structure of Scream. I know what I'm getting. I like that world typically that they live in, but these last ones have just felt very inauthentic in a lot of ways, and stop at the legacy characters.
I think
already.
Candyman was a little slicker than these. I mean, I thought Candyman was about on par with this. Really, I didn't think it was.
I was actually surprised at how brutal Scream was. I thought Scream was a lot more brutal in terms of the violence
throughout the movie. Yes.
Yeah. And maybe because I saw it in the theater and the sound and whatnot, it seemed a lot more gruesome than I had remembered other Screams to be.
As these franchises go on, as these installments continue to be made, things feel more and more televised. If that makes any sense. It's streamed, These words kind of feel like less like theatrical. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like more of like a TV episode. Is what I'm getting. As you say, like with Scream, I know what I'm watching, I know what I'm about to get. Well, it sounds like a TV episode.
But then again, I mean, you look back at the old Lethal Weapon movies; those could have been installments too. You knew what you were getting when you walked into those. But those had some sort of bang for your buck.
But I think that's incorrect. Compare movies at that point to TV shows. Those two things are different. Those two things are very different, right? But today, compare streaming stuff to
I see what you're saying.
These movies, right? They're the fucking same. So they feel like TV show. They feel like a stream show because they're damn near really close on par to that. Like, a lot more money gets spent on movies still, but the TV stuff is really caught up.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that I think from The Sopranos on, that cable has just been, or television in general, has just been catching up. And it's just an attractive option when you have things to watch at home that are that good. And
when I even stream these, I stream Scream. I stream most of the movies that I've seen. I don't even go see in a theater anymore because they're just available there on the streaming service. They just show up, and it doesn't feel any different to watch this content, this movie studio quality content, than to watch a streaming quality content that they made.
Like a Netflix movie or something like that.
It just doesn't feel a hell of a lot different. Whereas watching a TV show, even Miami Vice, right? Watching Miami Vice and then watching Lethal Weapon, like you say, a different experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, budget-wise, the talent that was attached, I mean, that was just a huge chasm. And now, I mean, let's be honest, the people that used to direct those movies in the 90s are usually now working in television. The stars of that era are working in television now. So, it's interchangeable. I mean, you could be on a television show. Making the jump from TV to movies back then was a huge thing. I mean, Denzel did it, George Clooney did it, a couple other, really Michael J. Fox, a couple other lucky individuals, but it wasn't the norm like it is now, or to be a movie star and then to just dip into a limited series.
It doesn't have to be necessarily a bad thing. Like, I'm not necessarily painting a bad picture of it, because now all your shit's really good. Or here's the caveat: nothing's really great. Everything's really good. Nothing's really great. You know, and I think that's the problem that I'm having in general with movies.
I would agree with you for the most part in that, and it's been a while since I saw something that really knocked my socks off.
It happens, but
on television or in documentaries for me right now are doing it more than anything else. So that's kind of where I've been. All right, let's move on and talk about one of the year's biggest hits, The Batman. This is Robert Pattinson taking over the Caped Crusader role from Ben Affleck, and this is a soft reboot, hard reboot. I don't know. They're doing all sorts of concurrent timelines of this Flash movie.
It has to be hard.
And it's its own thing. It's its own vibe. It's a 3-hour superhero movie that honestly I saw in the theater, and I really enjoyed this movie. I really liked the Batman. I got behind it from the jump. I thought that its running time was earned. This is a movie where I wasn't too squirmy for a 3-hour movie in the theater. And I thought that surprisingly, Pattinson did okay in the role. I did not mind this interpretation or this world as presented. It didn't burn me out in the way that Nolan's world did a decade ago. What'd you think?
I hated it.
Really?
I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Hated it. Robert Pattinson's great. Zoe Kravitz is good. Jeffrey Wright's good. The movie's dumb. It's a stupid movie. I don't even understand why this exists. And I'll give you an example. The movie opens with him like, Batman. Being Batman sucks. Fucking like, I gotta do all this Batman shit. Nobody likes me. I'm bored. Fucking whatever. And then he's like, the bat signal goes up. Everybody knows the bat signal. People get scared even before I show up. The bat signal, they see the bat signal. They're like, holy shit. So he goes through this whole fucking long like shit of this. And the first time he meets someone, they fall back on the classic, who is this fucking guy think he is? Look at this guy. What the hell? Yeah. It's like, dude, the guy just told, if everyone sees the bat signal, you fucking know. You don't know who Batman is? Like, really? Seriously, you guys are pulling this, like, who's this fucking guy? Like, it's like, no, you can't do that. And the whole movie's like that. This dude, Batman shows up on the fucking crime scene, like, I'm going to do some detective work. And the detectives are like, who the fuck is this? Like, this fucking guy, he's always here. He's just fucking... And Batman's just in the background while the detectives are like, fine, fuck it. They go on, they actually do the fucking job, their work. And he's just like moping around in the back, like, well, maybe it's this and that. And they're like, okay.
Well, he's definitely the first Batman who's on the spectrum.
Oh, my
That's
God.
For sure.
It's fucking... I think this is one of the most boring movies in the world. I've never... This movie, I'm watching people watch other people without the context of the fuck. I'm not even watching the scene. Like, they're in the fucking other building. They're talking. I can't hear them. I'm watching somebody else watch fucking somebody else do a fucking scene, and it's not like that's the movie. And then he fucking detects some shit like here and there, like in the background, while they're like, "In the fuck this guy." You know, I really, honestly, I think this is one of the worst fucking movies I've seen all year.
Oh wow, yeah, we're leagues apart on this. I think this is one of the better movies I saw this year. I really didn't think... I know what you're saying about the melancholy aspect to this, but I thought that in presenting this world, it felt very close, as close as I'm ever going to see to that 1930s original interpretation. And I don't want a steady diet of this. I don't want 5 or 6 of these versions, but for a one-off, I don't mind this. I really didn't.
I could understand what you're saying with that. But I don't think it did that because he's not in it enough. He doesn't do enough. He's so fucking passive in this movie. It's kind of gross, really. Like, is he even Batman? He's just a guy that's there in a bat suit.
I would say that Batman's on screen in this movie more than any other version of Batman I've ever seen. But being on screen doesn't mean shit if you're not doing anything. If you're just standing there with your thumb up your ass, I don't care. And he really is. For the majority of the movie, just doesn't really have a point of being there. I'll say this: I didn't really think that the movie had a central. I felt like it was a lot of setup in it, but I couldn't tell you what I would cut. I'm going through my
What's
mind.
even
I'm
in
like,
the movie, though?
I wouldn't cut that scene.
I can't even tell you really what's a lot in the movie because it's so fucking boring. The thing's 3.5 hours long, and I can't even tell you what the hell really is in the movie that needs to be in the movie.
I didn't really understand why they had so many villains at one time. I know what you're trying to do and show that this world has been set up.
I mean, they take they you know, they do the penguin. They do it like it's Dick Tracy, but it's not. It's like real life Dick Tracy. I don't know. I really don't understand what the fuck they're doing. Like there's Colin Farrell in this, and the Riddler is like the fucking Gimp from Pulp Fiction for some reason. I'm lost on why you want to take this and, as you say, like make it like a 30s thing, but they didn't do that. They made it like they tried to think like it was real. Like if this was real, what would people do? Well, they wouldn't do shit, but they dress up like fucking morons and act like they're doing shit. It's like
I didn't mind any of that. I thought this movie created a certain mood from the jump. I thought it was very effective. I see what you're saying about the logical standpoints, but let's be honest. This is a guy who fucking clings to sides of buildings, you know, with a grappling hook.
No, he doesn't actually. He fucking falls and then is unable to do. Like the most exciting part of this movie to me was when he jumps off the fucking building, right? Which is the opening to fucking Tron Legacy, by the way. Fantastic movie. This movie holds no candle to it because that takes forever to do that, and then he fucks it up. He can't even do it. He can't even fucking glide down to the fucking ground. He can't even do that. This is one of the most inept Batman of all the Batmen.
He's the most mopey. I'll say that.
He's the most ineffective, man. Come on, he's inept. He cannot glide down from the fucking tower. He can't do that. He fucking runs into the thing, and that's the most exciting. That's one of the most exciting parts of the movie. Come on.
I thought when they finally got that Batmobile out and fired that fucker up and had the. I didn't think that the car chase was handled very well in terms of the actual filmmaking of it.
The Batmobile was cool.
I did like that sequence. I thought that the score was appropriately eerie and off-putting without being too bombastically superhero-y. And I don't know. I thought that Jeffrey Wright, I couldn't decide if I loved him or hated him in this movie. He was doing a Felix Leiter, I thought, with his, when he's talking to James Bond and those other movies that he's done.
I thought he was fine. But yeah, I mean, Zoe Kravitz was good too. I really don't think the actors were bad. My point with the Colin Farrell, like the penguin stuff was fucking weird to me. I don't even know why it was in here. It was
superfluous. It didn't need to be
wasn't an important character at all in any way whatsoever. It just didn't matter that he was in there, and all the makeup and all the shit that they did for it.
Yeah, I
was
felt
just
bad
for nothing
for him. Because all that makeup that he had to endure for that little part, I thought, well, this is a glorified cameo. I mean, really, this is an extended cameo. This isn't a character.
Yeah, and I didn't like the Riddler character at all. I didn't like I didn't like Batman. I didn't like the bad guys. I didn't like any of it.
I think that the ultimate Riddler so far on screen has been from the show Gotham. I can't recall what that gentleman's name is that played it, but whoever did that in the television show Gotham that they did a couple years back. I didn't really get into
that. I've watched a little bit of that Pennyworth fucking thing.
I didn't see that one. No. Well, Gotham's good.
I can't handle the Pennyworth. The Pennyworth shit's so fucking. It's so boring. I mean, there's interesting shit in it, but oh my god.
Is that linked to this? Is that a backdoor pilot to this?
Not to I mean, it's Alfred's story, right?
I thought it was Andy, same guy, the same actor. No? Andy Serkis, or that guy's name is? No, I'm thinking of the wrong guy.
No.
Not Gollum, is it?
No. You're talking about Alfred in this movie is not. No, it's not Alfred in the other. No. It's Alfred. Pennyworth is as Alfred, much younger.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's like his origin story. Guy. So it's interesting in that respect, but also not interesting because I don't need a fucking origin story for some fucking butler from Batman.
Yeah,
I mean, you're just out of your mind with too much shit to watch, and it's again boring. Like everything's drawn out to such an extent. I can't do it anymore. I can't do the drawn out stuff. I need it stopped. I need people to write something succinct and fucking like to the
conclusions,
point
people,
and fucking do it and make it. Like you can make there's a lot of stuff. Like give me that Ben Affleck like fucking old Batman fucking movie. Give it to me because that's what I fucking wanted. That's what this was
the one that was supposed
to
happen,
and that's what I fucking wanted. Not this. I don't even know what this is. This is Robert Pattinson's not old enough to be a Batman that's fucking down on his luck. Like, I'm fucking tired of being Batman. Really? Fuck you. Get out of here.
Well, Trevor doesn't like his negative outlook on life, and he thinks it's one of the worst movies of the year. I thought it was one of the best movies of the year, so we're far apart on that one. Let's move on and talk about The Bubble, Judd Apatow's latest film that hit Netflix about a comedic film about a struggling production company trying to make a horror film during the pandemic in a bubble. I found this to be really quite amusing, probably funnier than... I like The King of Staten Island, but before that, I didn't think Apatow was on a good run for quite a while, and this had a couple good chuckles in it. I giggled more than once. I thought Pedro Pascal was really good in this. Keegan-Michael Key was really good, and once again, a little long. Apatow has that problem, and Duchovny, David Duchovny. The thing about this was that I really liked more the goofiness of making a movie, the Ed Wood aspect to this.
I'd agree, yeah.
More than the pandemic stuff.
I agree 100%. I almost wanted to, for a lot of this movie, I would rather have watched the movie they're making. 100%. It was so ridiculous and looked like so much more fun. But yeah, a lot of the pandemic-based stuff, I just thought, like, you're the guys calling for all this shit. Again, like, you're the ones who are able to not have to actually live in the bubble. Like, you're the fucking rich people. Like, you're gonna pretend like that this was a big burden on you for like the lockdowns and stuff. I just thought that's not.
None of that was successful, but the actual behind the scenes of the filmmaking and the personalities, I thought was funny,
and how all the actors kind of dealt with personal trauma and stuff, and the divorce and all that kind of shit. Like, I liked her husband was a fucking asshole and all that shit, living in her house and everything. Yeah, that kind of shit's great. I just disagree that at this point, certain people are going to come forward like, we're all the same. We live the same lives during lockdown. It's like, all right. You're the same people that we're going to call for a lockdown again? Okay. But you make the bubble? Thanks, Judd Apatow, for being an insane human being during fucking COVID, and then making a movie mocking it. Like, I
At
don't
least he
buy
found
it.
inspiration somewhere.
There are certain people who just deserve a pop in the face, when you see them, and Judd Apatow, I think, is one of them. But as far as funny goes, it's far better than the Meteor Strike movie that they made.
Don't Look Up.
The Don't Look Up
Don't
movie.
Look Now.
I thought this was way better than that by far. And again, for the reason you say, like, for the movie stuff, I really liked the movie they were making. I thought was ridiculous. It's basically like a Jurassic Park type movie, but it's completely ridiculous. And David Duchovny's rewriting the script to make it better and shit, and he's really not. Like these people are so full of themselves as far as like actors go. They think they're like great artists and stuff, and they're fucking making like. This must be Vin Diesel on the set of fucking Fast and Furious, right? I mean, honestly.
Absolutely. I mean, and that this kind of behavior must be somewhat standard because he mocks it so succinctly in this, the personality types and the archetypes. I love that she has the affair with the lead actor every time they do one of these sequels.
Right.
The little touches like that were very good. It's kind of like, let's go to camp and make a movie type movie, and I like these. I always respond to this kind of stuff, whether it's Ed Wood, like we had mentioned, or Badass, the story of Marvin Peebles' movie. I like these kind of movies. Matinee was another one kind of like that as well. So, but I guess I did want to see the movie that they were making almost as much. But amusing little diversion, I thought, for a Netflix movie, and I give it a pass and a recommend for what it is. Yeah. All right, let's see what else we got on here. Oh, the last movie we have on our list this evening is The Lost City. Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock teamed up for a box office smash, really, in this COVID time. I saw this in theaters back in March, and I got to be honest, it had been the first time I had seen a movie in a theater that was fully sold out. And what's weird about this movie is I felt that everybody wanted to laugh, and by halfway through, there wasn't a whole lot to laugh at. And the Brad Pitt section of this movie is so much better than everything else happening of it that when he leaves the movie, the energy of the movie lags. Is it me? I mean, he should have been the star of this movie.
What they did by removing the nuts from the Channing Tatum character destroys the entire movie.
I would agree with you. She's the alpha in the situation.
It's not even that she's the alpha that's the problem. It's just that he is so beta. He's Zeta, right? And he's just so like useless and inept. And it's funny. It plays for laughs a couple times, but once you get that Brad Pitt character in here, you're like, oh, that's what we need, you know. And when Brad Pitt's playing against Sandra Bullock, there, it still works. So it's like the Channing Tatum nonsense is unnecessary, and you could fix that pretty easily by making him full of himself. Right? He could think that he's good.
Overly confident.
He could just be overly confident, which he's not.
I was surprised about that because I figured his character would be that, but he was much more sensitive.
Would have played for way better laughs and would have worked.
Yeah.
I think would have been a better movie, honestly, because he would have been more at odds with her.
Well, particularly because that opening scene, you think that that's going to be the case, and then that gets exposed when he does, when she pulls the wig off at the press conference.
Yeah.
And then right away,
that's
he's
the moment when his balls are
butthurt.
Lost. I'm telling you.
Yeah, for the rest of the movie. But didn't you think that there was some laughs in here, and Bullock still has, a great screen personality, but I'm telling you, I kept thinking, I have nothing against Channing Tatum, but watching him do this was watching a boy do a man's job. When Brad Pitt was on screen, that seemed like...
Yeah, and I think that was a character
that's a
thing.
real movie
I
star.
agree with you on that, and I think that's a character flaw in the way they wrote this. I mean, I think Channing Tatum could have filled that role perfectly fine, but you're right. And yeah, they wrote that they wrote this movie all wrong, and that's on them. But you're right. There's a couple of funny moments in this. It's a big movie, so at least it's that. I could imagine if I saw this in theaters, it would have been funnier, because things tend to be, especially with a larger audience. But in the end, this is forgettable. Ultimately,
of course it is.
It's unfortunate because Sandra Bullock, she's getting older. And I feel like roles like this, the fact that she is able to play this role, how old is Channing Tatum? How old is Sandra Bullock? I'm not going to name numbers here, but look that shit up, and this works.
Yeah, it
that
does.
That's something. I don't even know what that is. That's a deal with the devil.
She's still a babe.
Right there.
She's still
wow, she looks super young. Like, yeah, wow.
And, she still has... although in this movie she did, I don't know if it's the character or what, but it did look a little disinterested, I felt like, throughout a little bit of it. We're like, is this the character that's disinterested in this? But I felt like...
Or is it her, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, is there no... there wasn't a huge amount of chemistry between the two of them.
If they had made them more at odds with each other, butting heads, so to speak. I mean, they tried to do that, but it's impossible to do that when you have a character who just... he's in love with her the whole time. Think. Yeah, it just kind of gives in. Just kind of like, I mean, it's nice that he wants to save her and everything, and you give that motivation to him. Okay, but he's unable to do it, and he like, I don't know. With the Brad Pitt character, he kind of tries to show him up at towards the end of that sequence stuff, especially.
Great,
by
that's
punching
fun.
him and doing that. Yeah, and so it really starts. You see that really start working, and then once Brad Pitt's gone, he kind of falls back to just not really being able to do anything again. Like he doesn't try as hard anymore. Like that.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said he should have been the cowardly lion. He should have been the overly confident, moron that's just bumbling over to things. But he's in this. His character is very neutered. It's almost like a female novelist wrote this character. You know what I'm saying? Like in one of those romance novels where he's not the big swinging dick in the room. He's this very neutered, lovable fucking person. But I mean,
yeah.
What's funny is they're the only two people in the movie, so they have to be attracted to each other. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no other options.
And that I didn't understand because she's so attracted to the Brad Pitt character, and it's so different, and that contrast is so like readily seeable, like when they're right next to each other, and once Brad Pitt gets killed, right, so to speak, We know. I won't ruin it for you. Watch the whole movie. You'll find out what happens to him. But once he's out of the picture and they take the car and they go, I kind of feel like, why would these two people like each other? Like, why would she go for him? She wouldn't. And it feels so forced. And at the end of the movie, when they're supposed to be together, it just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel right.
That last scene on the beach is obviously a reshoot. That's an awful sequence on the beach. That literally the last shot of the movie is terrible.
It doesn't feel like he wins her over, you know?
No, she settles. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
And the supporting characters, I'm not sure what's going on with that character, the large woman who's
they don't
searching
use
for her
her
friend.
She's in there and they're like, there she is, and she's like wasting. She's like pops up every so often. I'm gonna take care of this, and then she really kind of doesn't. Yeah. Like they don't use her.
Oscar
like she's
from The
there.
Office
Use her.
pops
Let her
up
do something. You know.
And Daniel Radcliffe as a villain is very unsuccessful in this film, and he's a good little actor. I don't know why he doesn't
The fact that
register
we're
at
bringing
all.
him up at this point speaks volumes about.
Yeah, there you go.
what he adds to the movie. Yeah, I agree. I mean, from the
Exactly.
beginning, when you first see him, you go, "Oh, Harry Potter," and you're like, "All right." that's about as much as that goes.
But I've never had that problem in other movies. I've eaten Swiss Army Man or Guns Akimbo.
He's a great actor.
I watch it.
But yes, this is a movie. This is a big Hollywood movie in my mind, anyways, and a big budget blockbuster Hollywood movie with stars and things. So I should be dazzled, right? I mean, literally, right?
Absolutely.
That's the idea, right? And so he doesn't do that. I mean, literally, he shows up. You go Harry Potter, and then fucking whatever, you know. But the movie's kind of like that. Like the movie has that big
it should
kind
be
of
stunt
like
casted there. That should be a stunt casting piece. Somebody should have played that role. You know, Daniel Craig or some. You know what I mean? Somebody of some sort of movie star kind of stature.
I guess. I really think the writing could have just been a lot better. They could have really done more with these characters, and that probably would have. They could have pitted him against them a little bit better. Done something else. He really doesn't do much in the movie. Like he shows up, he kind of talks some shit. He tells her what's what, this and that, but she doesn't. It's not, like they're not really. He's like trying to get this information out of her to tell her what this shit means. Like translate this, and it's like not really important. Like he's not really pulling nails or anything to get her to do it. She doesn't know what the fuck she's doing really, but she kind of does, but not really. Like the whole movie's kind of like up in the air. Like man, whatever. It's like not completed. It's not nailed down well enough.
It needed a harder edge, basically, is how I feel. Overall, it needed some sort of harder edge, harder comedy, something to make it irreverent. I don't know. It was a little too cookie cutter all the way down the line. All right, let's talk about some trailers, teasers, all sorts of stuff that we've seen. We'll do the three since we've only commonly seen the three. Let's start off with She-Hulk.
Tell me what the Adam Sandler one's about.
This Adam Sandler movie, Hustle.
This is a Netflix
looks like
deal,
he's
right? I'm
Netflix, but it's a serious performance where he is a coach of a basketball star, a rising basketball star. It's a hard edge trailer. It looks really good. This is a drama all the way through.
Oh.
Adam Sandler clearly is not the lead here. He looks like he is the co-star of this. It's a young
Who's
man's
the lead?
movie.
Rob Schneider?
No, it's no way. This is not a comedy. This is much more in the vein of something like Blue Chips or something like that. But he's not a college. You gotta check out this trailer. It's actually a really good trailer.
Are you saying Rob Schneider can't do drama?
No, Rob Schneider can't dunk, and this motherfucker's dunking.
That's what trampolines are for.
I'm pretty sure that if Rob Schneider put David Spade on his shoulders, David Spade still couldn't dunk.
No, they couldn't.
So that would be, these are not the droids you're looking for. But decent enough little teaser trailer. This comes out June 10th on
is this
Netflix.
Similar, the Ben Affleck movie. What else? All the other sports kind of drama things. Is that the idea behind this? Like he's you say he's not the main character though.
Well, it didn't look like he's the main character in this, but it looks like he definitely has a struggle with something that's going to be paralleled with this young man's struggle. That's what I would imagine. It's from a young upcoming director who made a movie called We Are the Animals. That's getting a lot of press at the Cannes and other areas lately. He's from Philadelphia, and this does center on the Philadelphia area and the street hoops out there. It looks like this is like a white kid coming up in an urban neighborhood, trying to get some respect and join a league or a team of some sort. So not a lot was given away here, but pretty flashy little trailer so far. right, next is Avatar 2, The Way of Water, and this is the sequel that's, 13 years in the making.
Yeah.
And I just was underwhelmed by this trailer. I didn't know what's going on here. Why I was so underwhelmed by it. I loved the first one. I wanted to be engulfed by this.
So many people say after they've watched this trailer, they're less enthused about this movie than before they watched the trailer.
I don't know why that is.
Neither do I, because the trailer. Well, look, I'm no huge fan of Avatar. I think it's an okay movie. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is not as good as everyone makes it out to be. And so when I saw this trailer, I think, yeah, all right, this looks like fucking Avatar. There's some blue people running around. Like, I'm gonna get my worth out of this. Like, all right, whatever. But everyone's like, it's not. I don't like. It doesn't match my expectations, and I wonder, the fuck are your expectations for an Avatar movie?
I don't know. When people said it was going to be based in the ocean and what the advancement in technology was going to be, I didn't think it was going to look like 2009 still.
Oh, bro. One thing, did I text you that? Did I text that or whatever? But yeah, when I watched this, one thing that's clearly obvious is how far technology and CGI technology has not been improved between now and the decade before. This looks like a fucking video game.
It looks like it could have come out in 2010.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. I mean, I'm blown away at how bad the CGI looks for. I compare a movie, 2010 to a movie of 10 years earlier than that. CGI, it's fucking unreal. This looks the fucking same.
Well, maybe we're gonna eat our words, and maybe this will be much better. And this is just a toned down version.
I've seen it.
But I was very unimpressed with this, and my enthusiasm has waned. And I started thinking, oh man, they might be in deep shit if they're making already 5 of these. And
what's the story going to be? I've always wondered, like, how will you continue a storyline on this?
What I've heard is that the guy has a family now. It's about his offspring.
Well, there's people in there. There's people with the blue people.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
So we're not just doing avatars now. We're actually there too. Which is weird. Yeah. Like, why? How is this dude going to live his life
in an avatar?
Right? Is that basically what I'm learning here? Like, how long is this company? How long are people going to support this fucking endeavor? Like, this company's just going to pay for this dude to live as an avatar forever? I'm a little confused.
Well, he is a paraplegic, and he's allowed to run wild in the offspring there. But I don't know. This, like I said, very underwhelming. I was excited to see this trailer, and then it came out, and I thought, this is it? This is what you got for me after all this time? And underwhelmed, to say the least.
This might be a huge... I mean, look at... look how bad Marvel's done in second weekends and stuff lately. And I can only imagine for this. And I'm not saying, there's different reasons for the Marvel stuff. Obviously, I don't think that's going to be necessarily a reason for this dropping off. I just don't think this is going to meet anyone's expectation. I don't see how it could, because I don't even understand people's expectations for this movie. So let alone how would it match it?
Well, the box office expectations obviously sky high, and to bet against James Cameron is very foolish. I mean, I've done that before. I didn't think the first Avatar trailer looked great when I saw it, and then
but this doesn't have 3D going into on its side. It doesn't have the amazement of the CGI stuff anymore. I mean, everything that we've known was good that helped the first one is just not here. It's not here.
That's fair enough.
So what does that mean? This does just average? Does okay? Does this do better than Spider-Man, than the last Spider-Man movie?
Oh, if it doesn't do top 10 of all time, it's a failure, right?
Yeah, but I would only imagine. Well, but we're talking about Avatar here. So what's a failure? Lower top 10 in my mind would be a fucking failure. This bitch better crack top 5.
That's the kind of pressure that Cameron has on him even creating this. So it's almost a fool's errand in a lot of ways. I mean, good luck following this up. I don't know why he didn't just move on to fucking True Lies 2.
Yes,
but instead we get it as a TV version. By the way, I saw that
Make
today
Eraser
Reborn is out. Did you know that this was a thing, Eraser Reborn? There's a sequel, a direct-to-DVD sequel.
What are you fucking telling me? Eraser Reborn?
Reborn. This is brand new.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
DVD release date June 7th. Well, pre-order this fucking thing.
Well, I'll send you
Is
the
this
link.
bitch gonna be streaming on something?
Yeah, it's already streaming on something.
Is it? Oh, well. I don't mean illegal.
I don't want anything to do with that, sir. I don't know what you're talking about. This is not. I'm talking about a screener
I don't
link.
need Mr. FBI
No,
listening here.
A screener link. No. Yeah. I think we have something in our Gmail from the company. Prey. Let's talk about Prey, the Hulu original. This is the Predator film that's being the Predator franchise that apparently ripped off a fan film from a couple years ago. Was the big hubbub?
Yeah, that's right.
This teaser isn't bad, but it's only a minute long. I mean, I don't really know what this is.
I thought this was. I actually think the teaser's really good, and I mean, when I see the three lights show up on the dude's head, I'm like, oh shit,
Love it.
You're gonna get fucking killed. What are you doing? Watch out, fucking! Like, I'm already in it. So yeah, I think this is gonna be good. Dan Trachtenberg's fucking good. Let's just be honest. Dude's a good director. So give him something like the Predator going after some people. I think he's gonna turn nothing into something here. And pretty easily.
Which is what he did that with 10 Cloverfield
hell
Lane.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Yeah, hell yeah, he did. So I can't wait for this, and it feels like to some degree, it feels like the Mel Gibson movie, but with Predator. What was that Mel Gibson?
Yeah, it feels like Apocalypto.
Thank you. Doesn't that feel like have that feeling? Like very raw and like visceral and like fucking like people like this is it. Like people are gonna be down to the last fucking minute here of their fucking lives, like just going for it with the Predator, and that shit. Well, and that fucking that telltale shimmer.
That telltale shimmer, as Archer says.
There's a telltale shimmer, Lana.
But the thing is, with these, I got excited for the Shane Black one in 2018, and that was a total fucking failure.
But this looks better
in all levels. I know, but that one didn't have a bad trailer either, and I got excited. And so it just years of being disappointed at Predator films leads me to believe I'm probably not going to like this.
This feels like an idea, albeit maybe stolen. I don't know, but it does feel like an idea that's separate from the franchise. Like here's an idea. Here, I got a Predator. Let's make a Predator movie. There's a Predator runs around, tries to kill people. Well, that sounds great. Instead of making a fucking movie where you're like, well, what's the Predator mean? Do they come down? What kind of ship do they have? What do they have? Yeah, it's like, nah, too much fucking thought put into it. I don't need a backstory for the fucking Predator. He comes, he hunts. Let's go.
I don't need it fully fleshed out. I think Predator 2 did a great job of having hints of the backstory without, delving headlong into it.
That's what I mean. But that's what they do right nowadays. Like now they're trying to they try to create like a fucking universe, like a cinematic universe, if you will. I don't know where I got that from. It just came to me. But they try to create that for fucking everything now. And it's too much. I do not need backstory on every single fucking thing. Some things should be left a mystery because it's good. I like the Alien movies a lot. And, I like what Ridley Scott did later with the other Alien movies. But it's too much backstory. I don't even know all this stuff. I don't.
Yeah, it's pretty... It's too dense, and things get lost in their own mythology, and then they start getting heavy-handed, and they get bogged down in that shit.
That's a big problem.
Go ahead. First Predator's so clean. It's such clean storytelling, visually and efficiency, and that's what a lot of these ones have missed. And actually, the one that I liked was Alien vs. Predator 2, the Requiem.
That one's really
I thought
good.
That was pretty efficient, and people hated on that one for the most part. You liked
That's
it.
That's probably the best Alien vs. Predator movie.
I think so. I think it's maybe one of the best sequels that they made in general to this franchise.
Yeah, and I don't mind the first one. I like the first Alien vs. Predator, but they go into it a little too much. I'm not so interested in. I get the idea of it, and that's good enough. I don't know what else do I need to know about these things. Like why does it have to be more fleshed out than that? I am me, a person who lives here. What will I be scared of? Well, some alien thing showed up and tried to fuck with me. It'd be pretty fucking scary. I don't need to know its fucking origins and like where it comes from, what its family life was like, how its culture existed and all that stuff. It's just. What the fuck am I going to relate to with that? At that point, that's another character that I'm friends with now. I don't understand what we're doing, when we do that.
Well, the jump the shark moment in this whole franchise was when the female protagonist in Alien vs. Predator fought alongside the other Predator. Remember that? When she got tattooed and then she fought. I was like, oh, stop it already. This is just fucking ridiculous. So for them to write this in... this is a franchise that has parallels to Aliens in a lot of ways. So to have a female protagonist is cool. To have it, back in the primitive era or the Native Americans, that's an interesting spin on this all. But ultimately, I want, like you said, less.
That's my hope.
Less character development, more visceral action.
That's my hope, and that you could do that with this. Like, this idea is perfect for that. And as well as showing just like how you can really make something out of nothing with this type of an idea with Native Americans living. So you'd show their lives and what they have to go through day from day just to fucking survive. And now you're gonna have to fight the predator. Well, who's more fucking adept? Like, who's more prepared to fight the fucking predator than these guys?
Yeah. And I'm curious exactly when this is set, if there are settlers or what's going on, if there's other people there. So a lot of questions that are going to be left to answer come August. I think it's at August 5th or August 17th. It's coming in August on Hulu original for this Predator film called Prey. Next thing we got is She-Hulk, and that is the series that is coming to Disney Plus, She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I was not aware that this character in the comic book was a defense attorney. Trevor turned me on to that.
Not only
his
defense
extensive
attorney,
comic book knowledge.
Oh, hell yeah. Defended superheroes and stuff in court.
Yeah, which is kind of a cool angle to this show. I didn't know that was the deal.
In the comic book, she did that too. So yeah,
I like that they had a lot of Eric Banner or Bruce Banner in here in terms of Mark Ruffalo's.
I hated it.
Interpretation that I didn't mind that. I thought the ending was awful.
It's a passing of the ball here. It's just really like this is such a cash in. It feels like with Bruce Banner showing up and doing all that stuff. It just feels like oh no guys, don't worry. This is definitely a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We got the guy right here. Here's the Hulk. He's in it. He's right here. Don't worry about it. It's like,
didn't you think that this felt more? To me, it reminded me a lot of 1990s reprogramming of these superhero things like Lois and Clark and things like that, where the female was put out in front and they minimized the male superhero aspect. I mean, I'm sure that Hulk with Bruce Banner is probably only in the pilot or sparingly throughout the series. It's
kind of a mistake. I mean, it's called She-Hulk. The show should be about her, and you're right. When I watched this trailer, I don't feel like the show's about her, even though it is. It clearly is. But I don't get a sense of who she is, what she wants, what she's doing. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think this is going to be a very good show. As far as the Marvel shows have gone, they have extremely let me down. They've not been very good at all. So I'd be surprised if this is any good. And I don't have a lot of interest.
Marvel shows that I've seen have been wildly all over the place. I mean, I've only seen a couple episodes of each one, but for every Loki, you get a WandaVision.
Loki's good, but people complain about Loki because it doesn't really it redefines the character and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, all right, I understand that, but out of all of them, Loki is easily the best show. But yeah, WandaVision's terrible.
I mean, the Falcon and the Soldier was very
I didn't even
mediocre.
finish it. Yeah, I haven't finished most of them. They're not very good, to be honest with you. They just aren't. They don't tell very compelling stories, and they don't really do their characters justice. You know?
Well, it's funny because the Netflix series got a lot of shit, and I think that the Daredevil and the Punisher over there were amongst the best. The Marvel stuff still.
I like the Daredevil stuff. Yeah, well, that was really good. Punisher was good. Jessica Jones was good. The Netflix stuff, I think, in general, even what's his name? The Fist guy.
Luke Cage?
Even Luke Cage was pretty
Fist.
good, but the Iron Fist was good, and so was the Defenders, honestly. And so even the lesser stuff on Netflix that I didn't enjoy as much as some of the better stuff, it is better by a lot than any of the shit on Disney Plus. But She-Hulk, at least, there's no bait and switch with She-Hulk, right? You're gonna get She-Hulk, I imagine, I hope. I'd be surprised they do a bait and switch, and they've done a bait and switch on a good majority of the rest of their shows, and taken other characters and made them into far more major characters than they should be. You know, like major plot points resulting around other characters and people, like Moon Knight. If you haven't seen Moon Knight, is just like Moon Knight's rather rewritten as far as character goes, but also just inept as a fucking superhero. Like the girl who's in it, who's also, hey, she's a superhero too, of course. Well, she fucking kicks ass, and he's even in his kick-ass form, you know. So
the bumbling fuck.
Yeah, so I don't know why they keep doing this, but you can't do this with She-Hulk, right? Because she's already a girl. So how could you do a bait and switch here? Unless this is really a Hulk show, and Mark Ruffalo is the main character.
Show, then that's their way to get a Hulk movie off the ground. Maybe that's what they're going to do, a Planet Hulk or something like that.
I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what this.
It's going to be short-lived. I don't think this will be on for many seasons, but
I don't think most of the
its
stuff
present
is.
Form.
You know, to be honest with you, most of their stuff feels transitory. You know, it feels whatever we can do to get on to the next thing, to the next point. Like Marvel at this point is hanging by a thread, and they don't have anything long-lasting. In my opinion,
this trailer,
I think it's true.
This trailer felt like if you remove the fancy special effects, this could have been on ABC in 1990.
100%. This could be Ally McBeal.
This is like coming to the ABC lineup tonight. You know, she's an attorney.
Really?
Well, it's like the whole thing.
She looks like Fiona from Shrek. It's just ridiculous.
She does look like Fiona. Ugh. I didn't want to say that either. I was trying to be nice.
There's a moment where I'm just like, oh my God. Like, you can't.
I know. It crosses that uncanny valley of Fiona from Shrek. But yeah, I thought so too, with the green and then the picking up of the sexual partner and the whole thing.
I'll give it a shot. So, I will give it a shot, but that's all I'll give it.
It's gonna be a doozy.
There's too much stuff available, and I have to refuse to finish things that I don't like at this point.
You gotta allocate your time better.
I have to. Yeah, I have to refuse to finish things I don't like. That's correct. Yes. You have to do it, right? You have to vote with your wallet, right? Or else they'll just keep making shit. So if I just keep watching shit, they'll just keep making shit. So I have to stop watching shit. So
these viewer numbers, I think, for Moon Knight, they know. Moon Knight apparently had one of the lowest season finale numbers they didn't even post it. So
of course I stopped watching it. As I imagine many people did, because it continually got worse. You know, as they all do. I mean, Halo's gotten worse. All of this stuff is just sold to you as something else. What's bait and switch? There's another way to put it. It's not good.
Yeah, that's why I'm curious what this Obi-Wan show is going to be on Memorial Day weekend.
Bait and switch. Already been revealed as a bait and switch.
Is it really? Yeah, Here we go again. Just like Masters of the Universe was, in cartoon form last year.
Yep. It's actually almost exactly like that, because they have a female Sith person under Darth Vader who's going after Obi-Wan, and it, to me, sounds like it's going to be her story.
Her story. Yeah. It's the story we don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense, because that's at least a new exploitable angle that they can work a couple seasons out of, at least, or fill this season up with.
I don't know why they keep doing that. Just make it Obi-Wan. If there's no story there for Obi-Wan, then do not make an Obi-Wan show. It's that simple. You know, whoever this character is, make it her show. People will probably be fine with that. You know, like we watched Rogue One, that had a female lead, and quite honestly, that was one of the better fucking spin-off Star Wars fucking movies.
But don't you think these are backdoor pilots in a way? I mean, that's what they used to do in these shows. They'd have, main character, and then you'd have your secondary character come on, and you realize, they're trying to push off a show with this person.
No,
but instead of having the secondary show, it's just the main show now.
Yes, I would agree with that, only because they're in this universe situation where any character can be the main character of any show, right? Because it's a universe. So anyone can be spun off into their own fucking thing. Anyone. I mean, literally anyone. And it's a universe thing. So I can have this show, then I have 1 million characters. This is why we have 800 endings to everything. And every character gets their due diligence, right? Even though they don't fucking deserve it. It's too much.
Yeah, there's been a lot of shows lately that I started. I mean, we talked about a few on our last podcast and just didn't even finish, like BubbleThe and things that I was looking forward to.
Fett's
and then
terrible.
got into. And just and I was only watching about 3 episodes.
God awful, and that sucks. That
and
sucks
I didn't
to say
specifically stop watching. Do you know what the most enjoyable reboot I've watched lately is? The Kids in the Hall is back on Prime.
Yeah, they made a big thing about it. I have not seen it yet, but yeah, they did say.
It's pretty good, and it centers around the film Brain Candy. So if you've seen Brain Candy,
this is
it's
the
got
new one.
actually,
Are you watching the new one?
The brand new
yeah,
one,
okay.
yeah. But if you know Brain Candy, the film from 1996, and the failure of that, it's kind of a running joke in this new series. So it's a little extra fun. So check that out. I would highly recommend that.
That's interesting because they did Netflix did the Wet Hot Summer one.
Yeah, the reboot
Wet
of
Hot
that,
American
the
Summer,
show.
I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really good actually as a reboot one. Was interesting, and it was kind of a similar thing, like the weirdness and how the old one, how it plays into a sequel from the old one. I mean, it sounds really like kind of a similar like idea.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very similar to that, and it made me go back and watch a couple episodes of the original season 2, and these guys are just wacky and they're fun. And actually now, going back and watching some of this shit too is. Hearing that theme song reminds me of watching Comedy Central in the early 90s when there wasn't a lot of programming on that channel, and the graininess of the video, just the whole thing it's kind of I didn't realize Lorne Michael was behind it, the producer of Saturday Night Live, and it's a time capsule in a lot of ways. It's fun to go back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those were VHS staples for a while too.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah. But those were on Comedy Central almost all the fucking time. That, like the A-List and all those weird, when the Soup was on, and
God, I
like
missed
3
the Soup.
or 4 shows. Yeah, they need to bring Craig Kilborn back for that. Will you please? Or even your boy, what was his name? Greg Kinnear.
Greg Kinnear, and
is he retired? Where's Greg Kinnear?
I don't know what the hell happened to him. There's him. There was the guy with the white streak in his hair. Who was that guy? I don't remember that guy, but that show was good. Honestly, every iteration that I watched that show
was great.
I liked. I didn't even care who the host was. Yeah, somehow I liked it. It always worked.
It was the first, like, when you hear a podcaster now do something as producers laughing off, screen, is the first version of that. Because they would crack the fucking crew up all the time, and you knew that shit was genuine. And it felt like some Wayne's World type thing, where like 5 guys were filming this in a basement somewhere, But
yeah, it definitely had that feel. That was the feeling for like when Conan O'Brien first started. It was that feeling.
First came out.
It was like we're in our mom's fucking basement, like Wayne's World, right?
Like this shouldn't be on air.
Exactly, and it was like you're watching something special in a sense that this just shouldn't exist,
Yeah. And if you can maintain that vibe, some people felt like that with Letterman, that were there from the beginning, that watched it in the early 80s. They said the same thing. So if you can maintain that vibe when you get bigger is always the tricky thing. But The Soup was just a fun show to watch. It always felt like an underground broadcast back in the day. So I always enjoyed that. And it showed you the just ridiculousness of daytime talk shows, which hasn't diminished even in 2022. Is Maury still on? I mean, is that still a show? You're the father, you're not the father, all that
isn't
shit.
he quitting? I thought his show was canceled.
Is he? Oh, good for him, I'm sure.
Someone was getting canceled. I think it was him.
Oh,
I think finally he was coming to an end.
He's only given out 200,000 pregnancy test results in his career.
He rode it to the bitter end,
Yeah, I mean, he really rode that fucker till the wheels fell off.
I can't think of anyone else. Everyone else, I think, quit.
Montel,
before.
Ricky Lake, all them, Sally Jesse.
Yeah.
There was a slew of those in the 90s.
Before him.
Yeah, even Ellen now, I guess, is quitting. Oh, that's a different type of daytime talk show.
Yeah.
It's like the Rosie O'Donnell type show back in the day. All right, well, that's going to wrap up episode 377. We want to thank you guys for joining us on this episode. We talked about a lot, and if you didn't catch it all, you can check us out on MovieMavericks.com, on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you guys are listening to this. Please rate, review, and like the show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. All those metrics help our algorithm and help us bringing you guys this show. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I am Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to MovieMavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!